nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy, and silently, it could build and build until you finally see.
That's my soldier in the choir, bro!
You get the 10.
Oh, yeah, sorry. If you actually wanted it, yes. Good to go.
He painted me a picture of his mother's son. Told me this is what love should look like, but my colors will never fit in anyone's lines. My rainbow runs in scribbles. I told him I would be his mold though. I told him shape me into whatever you need me to be, and for a while, I was only his lover. And we took on the world with starry eyes, rose-colored lenses. He spelled my name special. He looked at me like I was magic. He looked at me like I would never be found on the back of his milk cartons, but it was in these moments I would forget my human skin. I would forget how sleeping alone felt, and the entire radio was our song. Back when I knew how his apartment was decorated, folded myself to fit neatly in place with his feng shui, had his back like a brace, let him lean on me when the weight of the world pushed down a little too hard. I took his negative and saged that as a silver lining every time, but it was in these moments I would forget my human skin. I would peel it back to show him the marrow inside my bones. I bled for him. I turned 7 days into 365, and I'll be damned if I didn't become a wall calendar for him, scheduling dates around his affairs. Back when I found myself his game, I moved me around to the sound of his ego. I was his pawn, he the banker, and I didn't ask any questions except, what else? I told him I was his. I just didn't realize how literal he took that. Y'all, for a while, I was only his rag doll, and I let him come and I let him go as he pleased, and it was in these moments I would forget my human skin. I would forget my pulse's purpose, because for a while, he was everything that I needed. And so I laid him at the altar, and I worshipped how my uncle pastor taught me, but I never meant for that to become his echo, and I never meant for me to become a shadow, looking for myself in all of the pieces I forgot to give away. Over here, I stand. I'm 1,000 diamonds spilled into another broken reflection. I'm bleeding on the marble floor, we lips stained together. I guess I've never really kissed any men, only tasted the same secret from different lips, because even now I am whole. Even now I am worthy of everything he couldn't give to me. Whispered a lie into my ear until I believed it, so he can have the limbs I cut off for him. I hope he puts me on the shelf. I hope he remembers me next summertime. But when he realizes that I have an entire religion written on my skin, may he learn his lesson without praying to me, because there will be no more lessons learned while praying on me. And what a shame that our testimonies will never see the same page. And what a shame that he's become the person he said he would never become. What a shame. What a shame. What a shame.
An article reads, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a national terrorism advisory on domestic terrorism warnings against the LGBTQ community. Meanwhile, I received messages advising me to be safe and to not show up for a drag event that has been exposed to the possibility of having armed anti-LGBTQ groups disrupting the event. During conversation with my mother, she says she agrees and that it's unsafe. Explain to me how this is the environment I know, that I'm not scared, that my preferences I knew from day one came with a risk, that this doesn't even feel like a shock, that I no longer leave my home thinking, what if I don't come back? That these threats are second nature to me, that I don't know how to even explain to people that this is life, and me being queer has always numbed our statistics, that I sincerely will never understand how living my life unapologetically can cost so much for someone, because if we address the reasons, they don't make sense. It'll still happen, because if we are discussing drag, please don't sit your proud boy ass there forgetting our forefathers didn't do drag, because then comes the argument that as queer, we sexualize children, but you forget that most drag queens were once children harassed by straight men. And are we really going to sit on the argument when we currently have important, influential men going to jail for having the ability to use and abuse minors. Or let us not forget that because we love to ignore the church itself has their own records of priests slapped in the hand for doing as they wish with little boys. Pastors and popes do more to little boys than the outside world. And that despite all these facts, our LGBTQ community, or that stubborn truth society wants to kill to avoid the exposure and the creepy truth about the men that run our governments. But again, I sit here feeling this is my normal, and we don't give up. And I'm not holding my breath, changing my ways with threats I planted my colored gardens on, because we support our own. And if we keep fixing these issues, the only thing I see happening is our gay being gayer, our queer being more queer than the year before, and our drags being more fucking lively. So you can keep your threats, your bullshit distractions, and please, 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 don't forget some of us have flourished in your bullshit for too long, and some of us might be queer as fuck, dainty at times if you must, but we know how to manage our guns too. And daddy might have raised a unicorn according to you, but I don't aim to hurt. I wasn't taught to use my gun to scare. We just don't use them as empty threats, honey, or to simply bark. We were taught to bite.
A broom is a cleansing tool, used to drive away the ugly and invite the divine into the sacristy of spatial communion. My mama chased my dad out the door with a broomstick at approximately 1 a.m. in front of my friends on my 11th birthday to rid our home of impurities. And her ritual worked again and again. In my life, I've been taught to flip a trash sack over my aching corpse and labor love until I push broom my good intentions back first into a corner. Sweating and sweeping and sweating and brush stroking a heaping pile of other people's bullshit. Sounds so soothing. Till you are elbow deep in the dank detritus you did not create, and they are still throwing their chaff ass scraps on the floor. Seems I've been sweeping and leaving piles along the baseboards all of my life. And consequently, I have perspired enough dust particles in filthy places to feel like debris. I've got heaps of rubbish bone collecting in cabinets, unholy walls in need of deep clean, and the lumps underneath my bare feet as a reminder that sometimes bloody broom handles beat the progeny beneath the rug and no one hears their muffled screams. The family trust is buried here. And this must also be why I find myself overly attached to lovers with dirty little tombstone secrets. Some scum refuses to be saved, or swept away, or confined to the broom closet. I'm going crazy, and all I want to do is push broom. I'm going crazy. And all I want to do is praise dance broom across my dining room. I'm going out of my fucking mind, and all I can do is sweep, hoping that the brush strokes and shattered cliff notes of hardwood nails gently scraping hardwood. Fuck, man. All right. I need another beer, y'all. It is. I'm going crazy. And all I want to do is push broom. Fuck. I'm going to do this. It's okay. Time. I'm going crazy. And all I want to do is push broom. Push. God damn it. Yeah, no. It's cool. Do I need... All I want to do is praise dance a broom across my dining room. I'm going out of my fucking mind, and all I can do is sweep. Hoping that the brush strokes and shattered cliff notes of nails gently scraping hardwood chalkboards will sweep me into sanity. I am humming in pain. As I sweep, my nails buckle to earth. My nails don't buckle to earth. Why can't I read a poem? Why can't I read a poem?
Take a sip. Screw Popeye into spinach. We gave Mindy Lynn a yes.
I am humming in pain. As I sweep, my knees buckle to earth. My back spirals into a cat's pose, and I finally muster the muscle to sweep up the remnants of broken glass, shattered relationships, other people's displaced trash into a dustpan. Finally throw the motherfucking pile away. Hug my mother. Call my father. Brew a tea to coax the ghost from underneath the area rug and let them know they are free now. And I begin again in a clean house. I'm starting my own ritual.
Bring it, Slayer!
A reading of the minutes of last week's meeting in regard to the upcoming company picnic. Cindy proposed we get a poet. Alan said that he knows someone who went to school with someone who's currently dating a poet. Sarah raised a very serious concern, stating that a slam poet might scare the children. Proposed, find a harmless poet. Action, put out a citywide call for poets. Note, take special care to filter individuals through the interview process in order to control for subject matter, appearance, religious beliefs, and political affiliations. Propose, no socialists or vegetarians. Propose, no feminists or Mexicans. Propose, no atheists or mystics. Subnote, a meat and potato eating fundamentalist albino would be great. Action, recall the citywide search for poets. Result, matter to be handled internally within the company. Alan says that he suddenly remembers being Chef Brown-Noser that he used to write poems back in middle school. Everywhere there is a call for poets. Poets needed to fill in empty spaces between the DJ and the bands. Poets needed as an opening act. Poets needed to close out the evening. Their voices shall mingle with stale cigarette smoke amidst the chatter of post-game highlights. Proposed, poets should not stir the dust. Action, do not feed the poets. If they eat, they'll be happy, and if we help them achieve a state of happiness, we'll be fucking up what could have otherwise been a brilliant career. Result, we perpetuate the illusion that only dead poetry keeps poetry alive. Baby, the dancing dinosaur wasn't available for Timmy's birthday party, and the unicorn isn't free until after 6. It's okay, hun. Let's go with the poet. I can't seem to find a big enough piñata either. Like I said, babe, let's go with the poet. Proposed, poets should be level-headed and free of slopes and inclinations in order to adhere to our particular reservations. Proposed, angles on all thematic issues should be carefully monitored in order to achieve a predetermined measurement equal to or less than the oblique. Proposed, poets shall not be versed in mathematics or physics, should be limited to stanzas in sweet rhyme, and specifically asked to avoid explorations of historical time. Wanted, time machines, not time travelers who might take you back to a reading of the meetings that occurred in my mind the previous hour. Proposed, there are no harmless poets. Proposed, Cindy had a great idea. Alan is an asshole. Sarah's just afraid of hearing people speak the truth. But even so, proposed that we meet at places like Presa House Gallery to determine and declare the destiny of poetry in our city of San Antonio. Meeting adjourned.
I didn't get the job, but I got a damn good poem out of it.
And a damn good title.
1. This week, a boy died protecting his classmates from a gunman, and this week, a room full of mostly white men decided that a miscarriage may be worth a death sentence. This week, a generation was condemned, and these men rejoiced while praising, cheersing drinks, and praying over their food while bullets preyed on preteens too. I learned good form was women and children first. I didn't think it meant to the slaughter. 3. They want me to be able to move to Birmingham. And I want my future family to have a mother, not a martyr, but they keep killing children. Keep damning people who look, live, and love like I do. Keep Emmett tilling the land and burying their hate within us and watering it with blood and pointing to the sky at a God they hold accountable for the evils done by their hand and call it a blessing. Call the bleaching of bloodlines a baptism for. You can find the oldest branch of my family tree in Birmingham. There is no record of my family before this place, just stories and songs and a desire to survive, so I write. and I sing, and I keep pushing forward, and I remember that we have never been free of what happened here, so 5, I don't just want reparations, I want justice. I want what we paid for with our bodies and our village names and our native tongues. I want my fucking country back. My family did not build all of this for these hateful white men. A piece of this land is my birthright. For story time. So some stray Becky that I ran into about a week ago after a brief conversation about bone structures, bloodlines, and last names asked me, no, but where are you from? And I bite my tongue like a wood block at the shock of her audacity and clap back to her bass-awkward sentiment with a side-eye fit for Egyptian goddesses. I want to ask her, where is hip-hop from? What about soul music and blues? Have you ever heard of jazz? Does anybody ever ask where they are from? And when they answer, do you question it? But I recognize her ignorant attempt at validation, thinking that if she knows the story, then it's worth something. Wants me to be worth something, but when I say this is where I'm from, I mean 3. I am tied to this place by blood, both that in my veins and that which not so long ago wet the soil this city sits on. How can I say no to home too? When I first learned the phrase, all men created equal, I asked, what about the women? And my teacher laughed. 1. The headline of another murdered activist floats across my TV screen as the song Scream sings in the background, and I am left weeping over all the possibilities now laid out in front of me. And I'm gonna pay for this. They're gonna burn me at the stake. But I got a fire in my veins, and I wasn't made to fall in line. So, here's to breaking chains.
Don't ask for them scrambled. Those are not huevos rancheros. Palabras antiguas en los cancioneros. Siempre que vivan our huevos rancheros. I lick the plate clean. Nothing left for the perros. Don't ask me for none of my huevos rancheros.
Happy birthday to Donnie Dee! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, dear Donnie! Happy birthday to you! Put him out? Yeah, come on! Come on now! There it is! Put your hands together for Cuppy motherfucking Cake!
I legit told her all I wanted was a fucking snack because I'm
I
hungry.
don't wanna talk.
Then I would eat on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And today I was like, I've never been there. We can't take food, Karen. And then right now I'm like, I just want a fucking snack.
Anthony was the only person who looked in here without looking. He was just like, I'm gonna grab something. Love that. Pop rocks are dope.
Pop rocks and sex, guys.